He traveled from Connecticut to Alaska and back, and he did it all on a motorcycle. 3 months and 22,000 miles later, and Mike Samsen is back in Stamford from an incredible journey.
I went to through 30 states. I went through 4 Canadian provinces. I crossed the U.S.-Canadian border 5 times. Alaska was on my bucket list. It's just something I wanted to do. So it started out very much as just a retirement present to myself.
But Samsen gave the journey a new purpose, riding in memory of his brother Mark, who committed suicide in 2011.
He was married with 3 children, and it turned out that he had bipolar disorder, which sort of manifested itself later in life. It was a long battle. My belief is that he gave it his best try, and in the end, the disease won.
Samsen dedicated each mile to suicide awareness by fundraising for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Based on the foundation's Out of the Darkness walks, he called his journey the Into the Light ride.
The ride was timed such that I could be in Alaska on the summer solstice, which is the day when there is no darkness in Alaska. So it's, well, that's kind of cool.
So Samsen said goodbye to his wife and started off in June.
He had the courage to do it, to go it alone. And I could cry now, but I won't when I think about it. And then, of course, the return is always beyond awesome.
But there were a few bumps in the road. One big one in particular just before the first finish line.
I was about 100 miles away from Dead Horse and ran into a boulder, went over the handlebars, and I broke 5 ribs in my foot.
Amazingly, he got back on his bike
And rode the last 100 miles into Dead Horse, Alaska, to a clinic.
Samsen then flew home to heal, where he was reminded what he was riding for.
While I was home, a friend of my daughter's from college committed suicide. And I talked to her and said, you know, would you like me to sort of ride the second part of this ride in tribute to your friend?
A month later, Samsen returned to Alaska to finish what he started in an even bigger way.
And I put his name on the side of the motorcycle, and then having done that, I said, well, why should I just limit it to my brother and her friend? Why don't I just sort of open it up, and anybody who's lost somebody to suicide that wanted to pay tribute, you know, I put their name on the side of my motorcycle. Just by talking about suicide, people began to open up and talk about it, and it became, I think, a platform for them to start thinking about it a little bit more and maybe talking to other people about it.
With plans for another adventure on the horizon, Samsen says he's not hanging up his helmet just yet. For now, just less than a couple $1,000s away, he's hoping to raise $10,000 for the foundation. If you'd like to help the cause, donations can be made until the end of September. Visit our website for more information. Reporting in Stamford, Samantha McKelvey for It's Relevant News.